My wife posted a cozy photo with her ex, captioned, "Home is where the heart is." So I made her feel right at home. I listed every gift I'd ever given her, ring, car, jewelry, online with, "Marriage over, she chose him. Everything must go." She found out when her own family started tagging her in the viral posts. I never thought my 5-year marriage would end with a Facebook notification, but there I was, staring at my phone during my lunch break at the biomedical equipment facility where I work as a technician. The photo showed my wife Harmony wrapped in a familiar embrace with Marcus, her ex-boyfriend from college. They were standing in front of some winter cabin, both of them looking comfortable and intimate in a way that made my stomach drop. The caption read, "Home is where the heart is," with a heart emoji, and it had been posted just 2 hours earlier. I recognized Marcus immediately. He was the personal trainer she'd dated for 4 years before we met, the one she claimed was completely out of her life when we got serious. I sat in my work truck for 20 minutes, screenshotting the post from every angle, checking the location tag that showed they were at some resort 3 hours from our suburban home. My hands weren't shaking, which surprised me. Instead, I felt this cold, methodical clarity settling over my thoughts. I started scrolling through her recent posts, looking for clues I'd somehow missed. There they were, coded messages spanning back 8 months that I'd been too trusting to decode. Comments from Marcus on her photography posts that seemed innocent enough individually, but formed a pattern when viewed together. "Beautiful work as always," and "Hope you're taking care of yourself," followed by private conversations I could only imagine. I drove back to the facility and spent my afternoon break creating a mental inventory of every expensive gift I'd purchased during our marriage. The engagement ring I'd saved 6 months to afford, the luxury SUV registered in my name because her credit was terrible, the designer handbags she collected, the professional camera equipment I'd bought to support her freelance photography dreams, and that expensive home gym setup she'd insisted would help her stay in shape. Each purchase had been carefully planned and saved for, because I believed we were building something permanent together. I started a spreadsheet on my phone, listing purchase dates, approximate values, and whether I still had receipts. The methodical approach helped me stay focused instead of letting anger cloud my judgment. By the time my shift ended, I had a comprehensive list of over $40,000 in gifts I'd given the woman who was currently cuddling with her ex-boyfriend at some romantic cabin retreat. I drove home to our empty house. She was supposed to be on a solo photography weekend, according to the story she'd told me Friday morning, and began gathering documentation. Every receipt I could find, every warranty card, every purchase confirmation email. I wasn't sure what I was planning yet, but I knew that preparation would be crucial for whatever came next. The weekend passed in a strange kind of productive numbness as I maintained our usual household routines while systematically building my case. I mowed the lawn, did laundry, and even prepped meals for the week, all while photographing serial numbers on electronics and checking titles for major purchases. Sunday evening, I dug deeper into Harmony's social media history and discovered she'd been visiting our old college town during her supposed girls' weekends with her friend Jessica, except Jessica had moved to Portland 6 months ago. The pattern became clear when I cross-referenced her location check-ins with Marcus's posts from the same weekends. They'd been meeting at their old haunts, the coffee shop where they used to study together, the park where they'd first kissed, even the apartment complex where they'd lived during senior year. My phone rang while I was documenting her jewelry collection. It was Beverly, Harmony's mother. "Vincent, honey, I saw Harmony's post from her trip," she said, her voice tight with concern. That boy Marcus was trouble when they dated before, and seeing them together like that, so public and intimate, it just doesn't sit right with me. "Have you two been having problems?" I told Beverly that I was handling the situation and would be in touch soon, which seemed to worry her more than reassure her. After we hung up, I realized that if her own mother was concerned about the post's implications, I wasn't imagining things or overreacting. I spent Sunday night creating a comprehensive inventory spreadsheet with 3 columns: item description, purchase date and cost, and current market value. The SUV alone was worth $28,000, the camera equipment another $12,000, and her jewelry collection, including the engagement ring, totaled nearly $15,000. Each entry included photos of receipts, warranty information, and detailed descriptions that would make excellent online listings. The most revealing discovery came when I checked our shared credit card statements and found charges for a divorce attorney consultation from 3 weeks ago, the same week she'd been especially affectionate and suggesting we plan a romantic getaway for our anniversary. She'd also opened a separate checking account at a different bank, something I only discovered because the setup confirmation email had accidentally gone to our shared laptop. The betrayal wasn't just emotional or physical, it was calculated and premeditated. She'd been planning her exit strategy for months while I was discussing vacation plans and talking about starting a family next year. I printed every piece of evidence and organized it into a folder that would make any attorney proud. Bank statements, social media screenshots, hotel receipts from her fake girls' weekends, even the text messages she'd forgotten to delete where she complained to Jessica about feeling trapped in suburbia with someone who doesn't understand her artistic soul. By Sunday night, I had enough documentation to prove that our marriage had been over in her mind long before that cabin photo, and that she'd been systematically deceiving me while planning her departure. The only question remaining was how to respond to someone who'd chosen to humiliate me publicly before giving me the courtesy of a private conversation about our marriage's problems. Monday morning, I called in sick to work and spent the day photographing every item on my list with professional lighting and detailed descriptions. By noon, I'd created the most comprehensive online marketplace listing I'd ever seen, featuring high-resolution photos of each piece and a caption that would change everything. Marriage over. She chose him. Everything must go, serious buyers only. The engagement ring got its own glamour shots, displayed in the original Tiffany box with the inscription visible, priced at $4,500. The luxury SUV photos showcased the pristine interior and low mileage, listed at $28,000 with the note that title transfer would happen immediately upon payment. I included her designer handbag collection, the professional camera equipment, even the expensive skincare products I'd bought for her birthday last month, each item photographed like a luxury auction catalog. I posted the listing simultaneously across Facebook Marketplace, Instagram, Twitter, and 3 local buy and sell groups, then sat back and watched my phone explode with notifications. Within the first hour, I had over 200 comments and shares, most from people who recognized the story behind the sale. "This man is a legend," wrote one commenter. "She's about to learn what loyalty costs," wrote another. The shares started multiplying exponentially when people began tagging their friends, and by evening, the post had been shared over 15,000 times across different platforms. The real acceleration happened when some of Harmony's college friends found the post and began sharing it in their own networks, adding comments like, "Wait, isn't this Harmony's stuff?" and, "Oh my God, Vincent is selling everything." Her sorority sisters started sharing it in their group chats, her photography mentors began commenting with shock and disappointment, and even some of Marcus's fitness clients started recognizing the drama unfolding. I watched the viral explosion from my home office, fielding serious inquiries from potential buyers while screenshots of my post circulated through social media with increasing velocity. The ring alone had 12 serious offers within 3 hours, including one from a jewelry collector willing to pay asking price sight unseen. The SUV had 6 people wanting to schedule test drives, and the camera equipment caught the attention of several professional photographers who'd been following Harmony's work and recognized the gear. Then Beverly called, her voice shaking with a mixture of anger and heartbreak. "Vincent, honey, what have you done? Harmony's sister just sent me this post that's all over Facebook, and I'm seeing our family friends sharing it and commenting about our daughter." I explained calmly that Harmony had made her choice public, so I was simply responding in kind, adding that everything being sold was purchased by me with documentation to prove it. She never even gave me the courtesy of a conversation before broadcasting her new relationship to the world, I told Beverly, who went quiet for a long moment before admitting that she tried calling Harmony multiple times since seeing the post but wasn't getting any response. The unexpected twist came Tuesday evening when my phone rang with an unknown number and a woman's voice I didn't recognize said, "Is this Vincent? I'm Sarah, Marcus's wife, and we need to talk." Wednesday afternoon, Harmony's car pulled into our driveway just as I was showing the SUV to a potential buyer, A single mother named Linda who'd driven 2 hours after seeing my viral post. I watched Harmony's face transform from confusion to horror as she realized what was happening, seeing her luxury vehicle being test-driven by a stranger while I stood in the driveway with a folder of title paperwork. "Vincent, what the hell is going on here?" she demanded, ignoring Linda completely and marching toward me with the kind of righteous indignation that only someone caught red-handed can muster. "I'm conducting business," I replied calmly, handing Linda the maintenance records she'd requested. "Linda here is very interested in purchasing the SUV, and I think she'd take excellent care of it." Harmony's mouth opened and closed like she was trying to process a foreign language. "You can't sell my car," she shouted, causing Linda to step back uncomfortably. "It's not your car," I said, pulling out the title that clearly showed my name as the sole owner. "I purchased it, I make the payments, and my name is on all the paperwork. Linda, would you like to take it for another quick drive while I handle this?" After Linda drove off for a second test drive, Harmony launched into what I assumed was a rehearsed explanation. "Vincent, baby, that photo with Marcus, it wasn't what it looked like. We were just talking, working through some old issues so I could move forward with our marriage. It was closure, not a reunion." I nodded thoughtfully, then pulled out my phone and showed her the screenshots of their social media interactions spanning 8 months, the hotel receipts from her fake girls' weekends, and the divorce attorney consultation charges. Closure that required 8 months of secret meetings and legal consultations? I asked. Her face went white as she realized the extent of my documentation. "You've been planning your exit for months while lying to my face about working on our marriage." She tried a different approach, grabbing my arm with tears starting to form. "Please, Vincent, take down that post. It's been shared over 50,000 times. My family is humiliated, my photography clients are asking questions, and it's destroying everything I've worked to build." I gently removed her hand from my arm. "You should have considered those consequences before posting that cabin photo with another man." That's when Beverly and Harmony's father Robert arrived, clearly summoned by their daughter for intervention. "Vincent, son," Robert began, "surely we can work this out like adults. Family problems should stay private." I respected Robert, but I wasn't backing down. "I agree completely," I said. "I wish Harmony had felt the same way before making her new relationship public on social media instead of discussing our marriage problems with me first." Beverly looked at her daughter with disappointment. "Harmony, is what Vincent's saying true? Have you been seeing Marcus behind his back?" Before Harmony could answer, another car pulled into our driveway, and Marcus himself got out, looking panicked and desperate. But he wasn't there to support Harmony. He was there to beg me to stop the viral destruction of his own life. "Vincent, man, please," Marcus said, ignoring everyone else and walking straight to me. "That post is ruining everything. My wife filed for divorce this morning, my fitness business is getting review bombed, and my gym is threatening to terminate my contract. Can we please just work something out here?" Over the next week, I systematically sold every item to eager buyers who'd been following the viral story, many offering above asking price just to be part of the drama that had captivated social media. The engagement ring went to Patricia, a jewelry collector from 3 states away who drove 8 hours to pick it up personally, paying $4,500 in cash and telling me she planned to reset the stone for her own daughter's future engagement. Linda bought the SUV for the full $28,000, saying she'd been praying for a reliable vehicle, and my post felt like divine intervention for her family's needs. The camera equipment sold to Emma, a young photographer just starting her business, who recognized the gear from Harmony's Instagram posts and called it a once-in-a-lifetime opportunity to buy professional equipment at a fair price. I watched each transaction with a strange sense of satisfaction, knowing these items would go to people who actually appreciated them rather than someone who'd taken them for granted. Harmony attempted to intervene with several buyers, showing up unannounced and claiming the items were stolen or sold without her consent, but my documentation proved legal ownership of everything. She even tried filing a police report, but the officers quickly dismissed her complaints when I produced receipts, titles, and bank statements showing I'd purchased everything with my own money during our marriage. The designer handbags went to various women who'd been following the story, each one commenting that they'd never let a man who bought them such beautiful things walk away. Even the expensive skincare products sold, purchased by buyers who joked they were buying a piece of viral history along with premium beauty products. The most satisfying sale was the home gym equipment, bought by a retired veteran who'd been unable to afford proper workout gear and saw my story as an opportunity to finally get the setup he'd been wanting for years. As each item disappeared from our house, I could see Harmony's panic growing, realizing she had no legal claim to anything and no way to stop the systematic dismantling of the material life I'd built for her. She tried camping out at the house to intimidate potential buyers, but I'd changed the locks and had every right to ask her to leave the property. Her attempts to guilt me into stopping the sales fell flat when I reminded her that she'd had months to discuss our marriage problems privately but chose to humiliate me publicly instead. The viral post had now been shared over 100,000 times, spawning countless memes and inspiring others to share their own betrayal stories with my signature phrase, "Everything must go." News websites picked up the story, calling it the most savage revenge sale of the year, and several bloggers wrote articles analyzing the psychology of public betrayal and social media consequences. I received hundreds of messages from people sharing their own stories of being taken advantage of by partners who saw them as financial resources rather than emotional companions. The unexpected windfall came when a documentary filmmaker reached out, offering me $15,000 to participate in a project about social media's impact on modern relationships and how digital platforms amplify both betrayal and revenge. The irony wasn't lost on me that Harmony's attempt to publicly claim her happiness with another man had inadvertently launched my own financial independence and media opportunities. By the end of the week, I'd generated over $60,000 from the sales and media deals. Plus, I no longer had the financial burden of supporting someone who'd been planning to leave me anyway. The divorce proceedings moved faster than expected when Harmony's attorney realized she had no legal standing to claim spousal support, given her public affair and my overwhelming documentation of sole financial contributions throughout our marriage. My lawyer, recommended by a colleague who'd seen the viral story, presented a case so airtight that even Harmony's legal representation suggested she accept a clean split rather than face public humiliation in court proceedings. The judge reviewed my evidence folder, bank statements, receipts, social media screenshots, and proof of her secret divorce consultation, and awarded me exactly what I'd requested, a dissolution with no alimony obligations and clear ownership of all assets purchased with my documented income. Meanwhile, my viral story continued circulating online, evolving beyond simple revenge tale into a cultural phenomenon about financial boundaries in relationships and social media accountability. The phrase, "everything must go," became a meme template, with people creating variations for their own life situations, and relationship podcasts started using my story as a case study in modern betrayal dynamics. I received interview requests from morning shows, YouTube channels, and magazines wanting to explore the psychology behind my methodical response to public humiliation. The most surprising development came when major media outlets started reaching out about the secondary story that had emerged, Marcus's complete professional and personal collapse following the viral exposure of his affair. His fitness influencer career imploded when sponsors dropped him, his personal training clients canceled sessions, and his wife Sarah's own social media following grew as people rallied around her story of discovering her husband's betrayal through my post. Harmony attempted damage control through a public apology video posted on her photography Instagram account, but the response was overwhelmingly negative. Viewers immediately noticed she was wearing jewelry that hadn't been included in my sale, revealing she'd hidden assets during our marriage, which only reinforced the narrative that she'd been calculating and deceptive throughout our relationship. The comments section became a brutal lesson in public accountability, with former clients questioning her integrity and friends expressing disappointment in her choices. Her attempts to reframe the situation as a complicated marriage with two sides to every story fell flat when people pointed out that she'd never mentioned marital problems before posting intimate photos with another man. The unexpected connection that changed everything happened when Sarah, Marcus's ex-wife, contacted me again after the dust had settled from our respective divorces. She'd been following my story and appreciated how I'd handled the situation with dignity rather than vindictiveness, focusing on practical consequences rather than personal destruction. "You could have ruined their lives completely," she told me during our first coffee meeting, "but you just held them accountable for their choices. That takes character." We discovered we had similar values about honesty, financial responsibility, and treating relationships as partnerships rather than transactions. Where Harmony had seen my planning and thoughtfulness as boring, Sarah appreciated the stability and intentionality I brought to decision-making, and where Marcus had taken her loyalty for granted, I recognized it as the foundation of any meaningful relationship. 6 months later, I was living in a downtown apartment furnished with proceeds from the viral sale and documentary fee, occasionally receiving messages from people who'd been inspired by my handling of betrayal to set their own boundaries in toxic relationships. My new place reflected my actual preferences rather than compromises made for someone else's vision: clean lines, functional furniture, and a home office where I could work on the biomedical equipment technical manuals I'd started writing as a side business. The documentary had premiered at several film festivals, earning positive reviews for its examination of how social media amplifies both betrayal and accountability in modern relationships, and the licensing fees provided a comfortable financial cushion I'd never experienced before. I ran into Harmony one afternoon at a coffee shop downtown where she was working part-time, looking exhausted behind the counter in a way that made me feel more sad than vindicated. "Vincent," she said when she recognized me, her voice barely above a whisper, "I know I don't deserve to ask, but how are you doing?" I told her I was doing well, which was true, and asked about her situation with genuine curiosity rather than spite. She explained that Marcus had abandoned her immediately after his own marriage collapsed and his social media career was destroyed by the fallout, leaving her to face the consequences of their affair alone while he moved to another state and started over with a new identity. "I lost everything real trying to chase a fantasy," she admitted, tears forming as she prepared my coffee with shaking hands. "You were building something genuine, and I threw it away for someone who was just using me to feel better about his own life." I thanked her for the coffee and wished her well, meaning it sincerely, but feeling no desire to relitigate the past or offer comfort for consequences she'd chosen. By then, Sarah and I had been dating for 3 months, building something based on mutual respect and complete transparency about our past experiences. We'd started slowly, both of us cautious after our respective betrayals, but discovered a compatibility that felt effortless rather than forced. She appreciated my methodical approach to problem-solving and financial planning, while I admired her resilience and the way she'd rebuilt her life after Marcus's deception. We often laughed about the bizarre circumstances that had brought us together, joking that we should send thank you cards to our ex-spouses for being so spectacularly awful that they'd inadvertently introduced us to each other. The most rewarding development came when a publisher contacted us about co-authoring a book based on our experiences, tentatively titled, "Everything Must Go: Rebuilding After Betrayal with Dignity and Strength." The proposal outlined chapters on recognizing red flags, documenting financial abuse, setting boundaries with manipulative partners, and finding genuine connection after experiencing profound deception. Our story had evolved from personal tragedy into something that could potentially help others navigate similar situations without losing their self-respect or financial security in the process. I reflected often on how choosing self-respect over reconciliation had led to genuine happiness, while Harmony's pursuit of excitement over stability had cost her everything meaningful in her life. The viral post that had started as a simple response to public humiliation had become a catalyst for positive change, new relationships, and financial opportunities one never could have anticipated. Sometimes the best revenge really is living well, and everything good that followed began with having enough self-worth to say that when someone shows you who they really are, you should believe them the first time and act accordingly.